Hello, everyone. I'm here to go over today the final Road to Las Vegas battle number 9, grocery store cleanup, written by me. So there's already several, at least 3 that I know of, solutions to this case. One by Dermot Early, one by Lorenzo Foti, and one by Bo Ribadon, also known as the Excel Wizard, and I'll have links to those below. So this one, I don't know if it's really going to cover anything new compared to those 3. It'll probably be a mix and match of them. It won't be the most efficient that's going to go to Dermot. I'm not going to try to compete with that, but I did want to show a slightly different solution in some areas of how of what I did or what I thought would be done for this. So just to go over in general, if you're watching this, you probably have already done the case. So I don't want to go too far into the instructions, but basically you have to figure out how much each team can spend in a given amount of time on that. We have a very brief store layout of here and all the different items and inventories and that. So I can start the clock and see if we can get this done in less than 30 minutes. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to delete this top row. And then I just will have like retail in here for will be the total price times the inventory. Will help later. So our first question. Oh, actually, before doing that, also one thing that I'm going to do, which is a little bit different, I'm just going to make these name ranges instead of a table. I'm just more comfortable with that. Personally, I need to do more with tables, though. So the first one is how much inventory do we have of the following types of products? So I'm going to write a sum ifs. I want to sum up the inventory, based on the type of product and based on this range. Okay. Next up for level 2, based on the following products was the total retail value, which is the price times inventory, which we just did. So it's another sum if or some ifs I'm going to do in this case. And now I want to be the retail based on the product name. And I can do this entire column. All right. So then we get to level 3. We want to know how much time will it take to go through a set number of aisles at a certain speed. And then all the number of aisles are going to be odd, which is important because it has to be odd in order to get to the end of the store. I know some people were thinking or trying to account for what if there was an even number. I just didn't include it because if it was even, so you went down 1 and you went back 2, then what do you do? When do you turn around? Do you turn around here? Do you turn around there? Or do you just go and go down a separate aisle down later? Wasn't sure what people would do or how they would interpret that, so I didn't want to cause the confusion. So that's why everything will be odd number of aisles throughout. Also, so the calculation for this is fairly straightforward. We don't count the start one. We can see it's 32 columns going across, and then it will be 14 for each additional aisle that we do. So we just need to count the aisles. So I can write this as a let statement, and A can be for aisle, and that's going to be the length of this minus the length of a substitute of that. And what I want to get rid of is the comma. On that, and we can check, make sure that's giving us, we entered too many arguments. All right, so we have a comma, and we're looking for the comma, space. Oh, I need another thing for the length. And we get 2, which is close. We need to just add 1 to it, get the right number of aisles. And so then that will give us our total number of aisles. And so then for our distance is going to be 32 plus our aisles times 14. And then we want to round up so we don't have any issues later. So that's why we're always rounding up this number, which is going to be our distance divided by our speed. And then that gives us our answer. Because I didn't want to run into a case where we round down and then later when we get to level 4 or 5, you buy too many things because you believe you have an additional second when you don't. So on this one, we're actually doing the shopping now for level 4. And so I'll start here. Example 4, and then we can do a X lookup. And just throw a 0, so I can also use this also for level 5 when we get there. And 45948 will be the answer that I'm going to look for. So just remember that as a check. So I want to filter the following data. I want the product name, price, and the inventory. And I want to lock that down. And then going to be based on the aisle, which needs to be this. Great. And then what I want to do to this, I will then want to sort it based on the second column and negative, descending. Okay, so I have our time left and our speed, and we know it's always going to be one aisle on that. So, but I'm going to steal my formula up here. So that way I can use it for both. So here I'm just changing it so we can look at the aisle. And then my speed is this. And so it takes us 10 seconds. And then I know the time I have left, the number of items I can get is 30 for that. So how many items do I choose? I'm going to use a minimum because most I can take is 5 of any one item. You know, also I can't take more items than there are, as well as my time limit is also how many I can take. And then my adjusted time is there. And then I can drag these down. I'm going to drag these down pretty far, just so I don't have to worry for longer aisles or aisles with more stuff in there. And then from this, I can just get my sum total here. Or my sum product, which will be the number of items that I get. By its price. Which is the price is in column C. Right, and then that matches the total that we thought. And we can see these are the answers we need. So I can just create a quick data table. Change my input cell. So now we can move on to level 5. And here I can see what my new answer will be, 43214 for the blue team. All right, and I can now copy this over. So here each team gets to go. I'll go red, green, blue in that order. And we just need to figure out the score for the team that they want for that. So I can use this. I can use it for Team Red. One thing I need to do is the aisles have changed. They're over here now, and I can use the text split. And then I can use a row delimiter of the comma. Okay, now I see it treats it as text, which is what I don't want. I want it as a number, so I just put in the double negative for that. Okay, so then on here, what I want to filter is still correct. Now the aisle I want is actually over here. Now I have additional aisles, and what I can do, I'll put this criteria in here. With the plus sign, I can do multiple criteria in my filter. I like to think of it as an or statement. And the multiplication sign, the asterisk, is the and statement. Okay, so then that pulls over. And then for our distance, we have our speed is D3, that part's correct. And then the number of aisles is over here. Okay. And then we have a new time limit. Lock that in. And so then this should give us the score for Team Red. I'm going to delete this. We don't need it anymore. And then I want to do the same thing for blue, for green and blue. So green would go next. And I'll just put it over here. And I'll write green. And then for my calculation, I'm just dragging these items over. And I want to include one less column. I don't actually want the amount of inventory in the column. Okay. And then this we can look at for green speed and green's aisles. All right, so then we have the right time. Well, this, we're using this as the minimum, but that's incorrect. So we want to figure out how much inventory is in here. So I'm going to do it as a pair of some ifs. I want my inventory is what I'm going to add. And then it's going to be based on the product name. And then this is what I want to check it on. Now, if I just do this, I get a spill error because it's checking both. So I'm going to take, I want all the rows, but the first column. Okay. Then I want to subtract from this anything that the red team took. So instead of the inventory, I want to look at this is what I want to sum up. Okay, and then I want to base it not on the product name. These product names on there. And then I just want to make sure it matches up with the same amount of rows. Okay, So we have 13 minus 5 is 8. That makes sense. And once again, they can take 5. The rest of this should work. Great. So then I just need to do the same thing for blue team. Also on this team, I do want to drag this down a bit. So now I just set everything to the blue. And then this part works, except I just need to repeat this process. So I also want to subtract out the O column based on the L column. This way, whatever green took, I'm also taking that away from that piece. So 8 minus 5 is 3. So once again, we're looking good here. And then this is going to be our speed to go through however many aisles. B15. And then we would say time limit minus 15. That is correct. So we would have a total of 43214, which is what we are looking for. So I can see what I need. This many rows. I'm going to create a data table. Right, blue in here. But and what I want to do to help determine, mostly with the third bonus question, I want to capture every team score for every possibility here. Okay. So there are all the scores, and then I need to pull in the right one. And when I have something like a layout like this, numbers down here, the colors up there, I like to use an if statement. So I wrap it all in a sum, but then I just say, you know, if the game number and the color equal the game number and the color, then I want the corresponding score. And locking all these down so I can pull them down. If it doesn't find it, then give me a 0. And then it's going to sum up all of that on there. And then I can just double click this down and it should work. Did not work for blue on this one because I took a shortcut, I'm guessing, and didn't drag this down far enough. Yep. So now everything matches once I fix that. So going up to our 3 bonuses, we want to calculate the total retail value, price times inventory. That's retail column for the 11 aisles. What is the value of an aisle that has the highest one? So Dim Early did this. I'm going to try it. I'm stealing his method. This is not how I thought it up or what I would have done normally, but I thought it was really interesting how he used a sort of a sum ifs in there where you can get the total retail, and the whole thing is in a max on that, and would be based on the aisle. And then he just did a sequence because there's 11 aisles. To get the right answer. So it worked for him. Works for me. I'm going to skip down to bonus 3, which is in level 5, what's the total retail value for the red team in all games that the red team has wins. So we can just go over to here and just sort of say, if the max of these 3 items is equal to the red team score, then we want the red team score. Otherwise, we want 0. Get that total. And then we can just sum this up. Okay, and then we want to get the total weight of all the items in inventory. And if we see an LB, we want to convert it to 16 ounces. So first, let's see, like, what has what in it? We want to see here. So does it have, ounce? Does it have pound? So I'm going to use the search because the search is case insensitive. And then in here, I'm going to put an array. So I want any space, if there's a space OZ, or if there's OZ space. If you're one or the other, it should then catch anything that is in there. Oh, within the text of that piece. Okay, so in this case, we have it as an issue. So I'm going to wrap it and his number, so they're both false. I want to convert that number into a number, make it a pair of zeros, and then I want to sum it. And then I can bring it down. And then see, like, 2, okay, ounce seems to be grabbing them. Then I want to do the same thing for the pound. Drag this back one. Okay, so then for my total, I want to take what my total inventory is, and then I want to multiply it by, I'm actually going to do, I think, an if statement. So, oh, before I can do that, I need the number. So let's call that the number. I need to do a text split. And I just want to do everything based on that. And then let me do this as a let. See, that won't work. I do want the sum, and then actually I want to change this to an if. So if this is a number, then I want that. Otherwise, I want 0. Let me drag that down. And it's not working. Okay, so I had to convert it in here to a number to check if it's a number. on there. So now I have the number. I can do one final item here. I can get my inventory times my if statements. So, if this is any number, then I just want to use it. Otherwise, if this is the number, then I want to use it times 16. Otherwise, for true, then I just want to use 0. Right? And then I have to, I think, round this. Okay. And then I can stop the clock. And we did it in just under 25 minutes. So that still gives people 5 minutes time to read, process, uh, and hopefully solve this case. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. For watching the video. Looking forward to the big tournament coming up, and I wish everyone good luck at the qualifying event. Thank you.